Welcome back.
We've accessed your file, Pirate. You're dead.
Wing, attack formation. Enter 3-7. Wilco.
I've been launched directly into the path of the enemy fighters here, so the first thing to do is to turn around and head back to the Lionheart for Afterburner.
Yeah, you're nailed, pal.
The next thing to do is to fly into it twice. That's necessary, definitely, and not for an accident. Totally meant to do that. Your mind just can't plan my strategy. We need to equalise the numbers as fast as possible here.
Ready and willing.
So, using missiles to do that. The idea here is that as Squadron Commander, you're the first person to be launched when your carrier goes through the jump node. So, Dragon there was one of my wingmen. Spoons has also been launched by now.
The hell with this, I'm gone.
The hell with this, I'm gone.
And I quite like the idea because, you know, the carrier comes through and it launches fighters as fast as it can, but it just happens that you're the first one out because
This crate's about to explode.
that's your job as commanding officer, and so you end up in a very bad position. But it's a nice challenge. Anyway, now we're just blowing Tarsus up.
Damn, you're
The
ripping
Tarsus
me
is the ship you
apart.
start with in Privateer, and as most ships you start with are, it's just terrible. It's slow and lumbering, but it does take quite a bit of shooting up, which does actually make it slightly hazardous in Standoff. Not for any threat it itself poses, but it has enough hit points that your wingmen are likely to line it up after you start shooting at it for a while, and therefore you are highly likely to get shot in the back while tailing a Tarsus.
Damn, you're ripping me apart.
This crate's about to explode.
This crate's about to explode.
The hell with this, I'm gone. Good work, Captain Bradshaw. You can carry on with your patrol now. You are so fast. Wing, regroup on me. They don't look so friendly. Let's kill him.
So you may have noticed there that I was pulsing my afterburner rather than holding it down. It's not actually necessary in this mission, but it's a good way to save fuel and it doesn't decrease your speed compared to full afterburner that much. So it's definitely worth remembering for later episodes. There's only one sabre here, and while it is a sabre and therefore fairly dangerous, I don't really feel like wasting missiles on a single enemy. So this is how you take on a much heavier fighter without missiles. The trick is to try and nail them as they turn towards you. And they won't be firing back while they're still turning, and they're not moving so you can hit the knuckle of their turn. You have to dodge quite rapidly once they get around, because you can't go head to head with a sabre and a stiletto. But provided you keep at it, you will eventually whittle down the heavier fighters' shields. Well, shields regenerate, but you'll whittle down their front armour, and it will eventually go down somewhat like that. It does of course help to have wingmen.
They don't look so friendly. Let's kill him.
Ooh, this feels so good. You're a loose end looking to be tied, pal.
This is the last fight of the mission. It's only 3 talons, so the main challenge here is to get all of the kills before our wingmen can. To which end, my flying is a bit more cavalier than it would normally be. Additionally, since this is the last fight of the mission, there is no reason not to use the single missile that I had been saving for a tight spot. That's at longer range than I normally fire missiles at. I normally fire at very short ranges, which is a way to minimise the effect of decoys because the enemy won't have time to actually release one.
Ripping me apart.
But it worked anyway. So now we're off to the final nav point in the mission, which, as you might guess,
Down the baseline, Hart. There sure is a lot of bogeys around here, though.
Time for some fun, sir.
Well, of course there is. Retreat, now!
and there it is. I'm not going to get any closer in this mission because they do launch infinite waves of fighters at you if you do get close, so it didn't seem worth it.
Mission accomplished.
Time to head back and relax.
This is Bradshaw. I'm ready to land.
Excellent work, Captain. Hurry up and bring that ship of yours in. The sooner the techs get to fix it, the sooner we can move in on that base.
Anyway, we're done here, so you can inspect my damage and prepare to say goodbye to the Stiletto, because that's the last mission we're going to fly in one for quite a while.
Seems like it got a little bit rough out there.
9 kills, over 40% gunnery accuracy. It's a fairly good mission. This has been Wing Commander Standoff. I've been Alanin. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.